I am 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗿. So glad you're joining me for our continual connection. Come to you about this time almost every single night. And when my kids have sports and I can't come to you right now at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll make sure that I'll jump on earlier for this continual connection, or maybe later. So I'm pretty much coming to you about 7 days a week, certainly 5, if not 6, all right, at the minimum. But I'll tell you, I'm about ready to do the 75 hard challenge on May 11th. That's when I'm going to start, because that'll be 75 days until I turn 60 years old, 60. And I am just going to push everything from my personal life, my business life, my physical body, the way I connect with you. And you're going to be seeing me everywhere, doing everything, right? Starting on May 11th. I'm just going to push it beyond belief. So make sure you stick around for all that. I want you to come along with me on that 75 hard journey, and maybe even join in. All right. But I'll be here a lot of time when you come on. Say hello, hello, hello. That's our Workouts for Older Men live greeting. Tell me you're watching me on Facebook. Actually, I'll see that you're watching me on Facebook or on my YouTube channel at 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗿. And then sometimes, if it's a good show, if I've got great questions from you, throw out a great question. All right. I can think of things. When I come on, I think, well, this is what I'll talk about. But when I can really answer one of your questions, and it's a great question that I know can help out a lot of men, right? I just come alive. I try to get in like peak state every time I turn this on. But when it's something that I know is really going to help you, not a guess, I'm certain, because you asked the question, I just go take it to a new level, and it's more exciting, more fun for me. So post your question down below. If you are watching this in replay version on TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, post your question down below, because I may miss it. I may not answer it right now, but it sets me up where right when I turn on camera, maybe tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, I'll jump right into your question, knowing that's what you want to hear. I know it's going to help a lot of people. Hello, 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 Robin over on Facebook. Thank you so much for being here, Robin. Good seeing you. Kirk on Facebook. Richard from Facebook too. So glad you're here. Hello. Hello, 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 Charlie. Charlie on Facebook, and Kirk. Hello, hello, hello. All right. All right. So if you guys have any questions, all right, even if I may be signing off, all right, go ahead and post those down below. I'll acknowledge you for being here. I'll answer your question again. I will, I'll answer it some way, somehow, some way, Now, let me tell you something, is that, so I've answered like thousands of questions. What I prefer to answer are real life questions that you're really going through, that you have a real challenge with. All right. And like, I can't lose this 10 pounds of stubborn fat. Right? What's the outcome that you want? Right? Because a lot of guys ask questions, and most of the information that you hear me say this all the time. If there's 100 things that are being thrown at you, they're all not equal in importance. They're not. Most of the younger fitness experts, they're so passionate, they haven't learned the nuance. They're like a bull running down the hill, right? If you know that analogy, right? And they're doing all 100 things, and they're passionate, and they're taking great videos and look awesome. They don't know if they make it to 60 years. Many of them don't, because they do all this stuff for fitness and maybe get a great body, and they say, my life sucks. Even with all this attention to my body didn't deliver, and I put in this superhuman effort. And so they move on to something else. A lot of times they're not even in shape anymore. They're certainly not pumping out the information like I've been doing the last 32 years, right? They won't make it to 60 years old because it's not worth it, right? But a lot of the information, it's just overkill. It's interesting. The science might point in that direction. But the guys doing all the studies, it's like all this protein consumption, this and that. And there are all these studies amongst nerdy, passionate. They're comparing notes and peer reviewing amongst themselves. How much is that information tipping the scales? My audience? Right? It's not a guy who's been training for 15 years, a former competitor doing all this. It's a guy who's like 55 years old. He's focused on his family, his business. All right. It didn't work out that much, but now he has a brain plate. He must, right? And he just needs what works, just like in his business that made him successful. What are the basics work? I'll get great at those and pound and pound and pound, but with all 100 things swimming around, which ones, right? It's going to take trial and error. And, most of the stuff that you're debating about or talking about, your head swimming around, it's not even important at all, right? I'll give you an example. So Peter asked, is overtraining real, or is it less of a problem than people say? All right. So, again, answering this question, a lot of times I want to answer it like it's the first time I ever heard it. Right. So let me just tell you, I want to give a bigger picture than only answering your question, because there's usually some nuance to all of it. See, most guys look in the mirror. I don't care how hard they work. They believe that they should be getting better, faster results from the amount of work that they put in. I don't care if they're training 4 days a week for 2 hours or 7 days a week, or they really watch their diet or they kind of watch their diet. It doesn't matter about the effort they're putting in. It doesn't matter if it's good routine or bad. It doesn't matter. Whatever effort they're putting in, they look in the mirror and they think they should get better results and faster. What is that based on? It's not based on any logic or any facts. It's just their hope and their dream. Right? They don't know because they've never been in that shape before, or they would know it takes longer, right? They've never been in that shape. It's just their hope and their dream. So everybody gets a little bit frustrated, at least at times, because they don't see what they want to see as fast as they want to see in the mirror. So that's number one. If that sounds like you, that's everybody, okay? So they start, well, what could be the answer? Why are my biceps bigger or my shoulders bigger? Let me just tell you, a lot of it, if you're training consistently, that's probably checked off, right? There's not magic in your nutrition. A lot of times, how this really works is not the way you think. All right. You don't just grow all this tissue. I don't care if you're young or old. It doesn't grow that way. You can get big and marbled with fat, but the bigger and marbled fat, and you're confusing that as muscle, things aren't going to pop. They're not going to look the way you want to look, right? So, well, maybe it's overtraining. Let me tell you something, right? Most people don't overtrain. There's always a higher level of everything you do, right? Who's that person at work? I'm doing everything I can. I've been working as hard as I work. No, they're not. There's always a higher level to be more efficient, to be smarter, right? You need experience. You got to push it. You can't say, I've done everything, right? Most people are like that. Very few people overtrain. And I know I'm an animal in the gym, blah, 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 blah. I know we all think that, right? But the bottom line, are we getting the results that went? It's not that you're overtraining. Most people, their workouts are long. They're 7 days or 2 hours or some version of it. And yeah, they're making it through, but that's not even intense enough. And, if you're, like a middle distance, you can always run faster, but you come up with the amount of intensity that you think is right and you make it through it. Well, I train hard. Well, I don't look the way. Maybe I'm overtraining. No, you're not. You just slowed it down. You can get 1 more rep, 5 more pounds if you challenge yourself. It may not seem believable to you now, but again, you got to push yourself on a journey. You got to set your mind up how it really works. Then do it and continually push yourself. See, I was under unique conditions that, I won a contest after 13 months, a low-level natural show. So I looked better than most. I obviously knew what I was doing, right? But that wasn't good enough. I kept on trying new things. Some of them took me backwards. Someone did catapult. But trying so many things with a 15 out of 10 intensity, I got real level of knowledge. I was under unique conditions. 1 championship wasn't good. 4 wasn't good. 5 wasn't good. 6-time national champion. Then I said, okay, I think I've gotten everything out of this. But that made me try different things. So now I have all these things that you've heard that you've never felt or tried, you just heard about. I did it. All right. I feel the question. I examined it because it was everything. And you don't need to be in those conditions. But if you think you've done everything, you really haven't. And that's okay. Most people don't overtrain. They're just going to slow down. They may not know it. That's not your problem. Want me to tell you what your problem is? Not enough emphasis on nutrition. You're not lean enough. You're afraid that size that you're losing is muscle, and it's not even muscle. Right? You're just punching. You're not growing. You don't understand overload. You're not taking one set. You're kind of pacing yourself through a workout. But that's even secondary to how this works. That's why you don't look the way you want in the mirror. So if you're thinking, maybe I'm overtraining, that's not it. There's probably 22 things that I can identify before overtraining. Most people don't overtrain. All right. Scott, hello, hello, hello. Roland, hey, over on YouTube. Your track record as a content creator is unmatched. What do you contribute your ability to maintain consistency? Well, I don't know if it's unmatched. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would have to think that. Well, pouring out content that you can use, I can't just rely on my pretty face like a lot of guys for 32 years. If you look good enough, right, you can just another picture of you with your shirt off or whatever, and that draws attention. So you can post that content. Never wanted to really rely on that. I don't think that's my strong point. So 32 years of pumping out the information. But I think when you are totally committed, like you burn the boats, like this is how I make my living, so I better be good at it. I got to get out there, right? Having no backup plan, right? Loving what I do, changing lives, feeling like I can scratch an itch that nobody else can. Having that much confidence and love for what I do. Think I'm doing God's work here. Because when I help guys with their bodies, they come to me for their bodies, but it's always more, and we get into it. And then, my personal development obsession, that's 6 years longer than my obsession for fitness, that comes in. I take men on journey. I have guys coaching me weekly for like 6 years, right? It doesn't take 6 years to learn how to master your fitness. We move on to other things. And so how I have this set up, it's my unique contribution in the world. I feel good. That's how I earn my living. I think that's probably the answer to your question of my for all these years as a content creator, how it may be unmatched. I think that's an unofficial record, but I'll take that. Paul over on Facebook, hello, hello, hello. Hey, well, it's a great session here. You guys got me excited. All right, I love that. I hope you got value out of that. I sure did. Thank you so much for your energy. All right, so hey, let's take on the day with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than in front of us. Let's train with a sense of urgency, work out. Let's eat right to support that working out with that sense of urgency. Let's live our lives. Let's produce at the jobs, our legacy. Let's love and connect with those we care about most with a sense of urgency. Again, we have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. Have a great day. Also, one more thing. Click the link in my bio if you want some of this passion and energy for yourself through one-on-one coaching. I've got a description of all of my coaching packages. Click around, reach out to me. We can talk about, see if it's a good fit for you before you make any commitment. I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. All right, take care.